Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at the Walpole Mall in Walpole, Massachusetts. This is one of those malls not unlike Clifton Park Center where the stores on the outside of the mall seem to be doing fairly well, but the indoor portion of the mall is unquestionably dead. But don't take my word for it, come along with me and see for yourself. Well, those ceilings look nice, don't they? Mm-hmm. See all that water damage?
Yeah.
This used to be a mattress firm, at least it was back in 2019 when this Google photo was taken. Not sure if there was anything in here after that, or what was in here before that. Because unlike a lot of other malls I've been to, this mall does not have its own Wikipedia page, and I couldn't find any articles online with a full history of the mall. So I had to piece everything together from multiple sources, and there's a good possibility that I might have missed something. If I did miss something, or if any of my information is incorrect, please let me know in the comments. Thanks. Coming up ahead, this used to be the center of the mall up until I think approximately 15 years ago, maybe. I'm not sure exactly when they did this, but they basically cut the mall in half. Behind this wall used to be more mall. It went all the way down to the Coles. Obviously now that's all cut off, and all those stores on that end of the mall can only be accessed from the parking lot. Now before we take a look at the rest of the mall, let's do a walkthrough of this arcade here. This is the Dream Machine. It's apparently been in a few different locations at this mall over the years, but it's been at the mall for a very long time, possibly longer than most of the other stores. And I'd have to say it's a pretty nice arcade. My only complaint would be that it's a little bit light on actual video games. The arcade does seem to be doing fairly well, but I think that might be a combination of the fact that this was filmed on a Saturday, and I think these kids are here for a birthday party, because as you saw when we were walking in, there were tables set up with birthday hats, so I would bet that's why it's so busy today. And if you've ever been here before, let me know, is it normally this busy, or is this just like a fluke because it's a birthday party? Alright, so now back to reality. Looks like that's the busiest place in here. Also, real quick, somebody left a comment on one of my other mall videos that it was, quote, rude that you couldn't hear my mom in these mall videos, but that's because she's standing behind me and the microphone is on my chest, so sorry. Yeah, I'd say this qualifies as a dead mall. Payless shoe stores. This Payless closed back in 2019, so at the time of filming, this has been closed for 5 years, which I think is a pretty long time for a store to be vacant. Here's a couple photos of this mall taken about 15 years ago, and you can see how much it's changed since then. This store on the right, I think it's part of that Boston Bargain Outlet, but it looks really messy. Like the front section there is just junk thrown everywhere. That was a Barnes & Noble.
All right, so this obviously was some anchor store.
Based on these photos, that was actually a Joann Fabrics at one point.
Not sure what it was though. I couldn't find much online about this place.
That is very true, but from what I found, it looks like this mall was built in either 1972 or 1974. I found both dates on multiple websites, so my guess is that construction began in 72, and then the mall actually opened in 74.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's cute.
Got some rips in the cushions.
Oh, yes.
I read that this mall used to have fountains, so if I were to guess, I would say there probably used to be a fountain here, but I don't know. So if anybody knows this mall, please let me know in the comments, where were the fountains?
Yeah, seems kind of out of place.
Based on my research, the general consensus seems to be that this mall did fairly well up until the mid-90s or so, but it was always considered to be small and not particularly exciting. It was one of those malls you went to if you lived in the area, but no one was going to drive out of their way to come here. It appears that the original anchor stores were Almy's and Bradley's. Almy's was on the north end of the mall, which would have been to my left when I came in, approximately where LA Fitness is today. And I believe it closed sometime in the late 80s. The Bradley's was located to the south end of the mall, which would be straight ahead from this point of view. And I think it probably closed in the late 90s or early 2000s, which is when Bradley's went out of business. And then I think the Kohl's moved in probably sometime in the mid-2000s.
You can actually kind of see through the glass up there. It's just smoke glass,
Yeah.
which is unusual. You don't usually see those with anchor stores.
I believe this Barnes & Noble opened around 1998, and it's kind of surprising that it still opens up into the mall. As some of you might know, my favorite dead mall website, labelscar.com, has been down recently, but somehow I was able to get in and see their page on the Walpole Mall, and from what I read there, this mall went through a renovation sometime in the late 80s, which is when they removed the original brown tile from the 70s and replaced it with this lighter color tile that you see today. The mall also was briefly renamed the Mall at Walpole in the early 90s, but it seems like nobody liked that name and it quickly went back to being called the Walpole Mall.
There was probably an anchor store there. This is a jewelry store of some sort.
Oh, yeah, you can see them.
The mall had another renovation between about 1997 and 1998, and according to some users on labelscar.com, the mall today looks essentially like it did after that late 90s renovation, except for the fact that half the mall is closed off. This used to be a GNC, and it was here up until at least 2019, because I did find a video on YouTube of this mall from 2019, and the GNC was still open, and there was actually an eyebrow threading place to the right of this. So based on the way the mall looks today and the fact that they already walled off one end of the mall, I would bet that this end of the mall will get shut off in the probably not too distant future, but that's just a guess on my part.
This looks like it was an eyeglass place with those things on the wall there. Yeah, there was definitely a store here.
So at the time I was filming this, I did not realize that that was actually the other half of the mall. I just assumed that would have been an anchor store.
That was obviously an entrance.
Yep.
At some point.
Yep, and like I'd said earlier, that used to be the Old Country Buffet, and I'm assuming you would be able to enter it through the mall there.
Yeah, they have these buckets down for the water dripping.
Oh, yes.
That's not good. Yeah, you can't even enter this store through here. It's a liquor store.
Right.
All right, now don't go anywhere yet. As always, we're going to do a drive around the mall and see what it looks like from the outside. All right, so now here's the part of the video where I'm going to have to do some guessing because I have limited info. But this LA Fitness here, this is, I believe, a fairly new construction. But I think at one point, this used to be where the Almies was located approximately. Again, if I'm wrong about any of this, please let me know in the comments. But that is my understanding. And now here, this Aldi is a fairly new construction, I believe. Before that, I believe the Aldi and the Five Below next to it used to be an Office Max, which was here until fairly recently, maybe in the last 5 years. Before that, this was a Stop and Shop, which I think closed in the mid-90s. And the Stop and Shop might have been there since opening day, possibly. I also read that this mall used to have a Gap, but I couldn't figure out where the Gap was. If I had to guess, though, I would say it was probably where the Old Navy is today. And the only reason I say that is because Old Navy is owned by the Gap. And then this restaurant here, which looks like Shaw's, used to be Papa Gino's as recently as 2019. That was Mattress Firm. And then this was Old Country Buffet. Here's the Joann Fabrics, which used to be in the mall next to the Barnes & Noble. Not sure what used to be here. But here's the Kohl's, which used to be Bradley's. Now let's take a look behind the mall. This is something I did not know when I was filming this, but back in 1989, a woman named Susan Simone was found back here in her car, and I have to choose my words carefully so that YouTube doesn't demonetize the video, but she was found unalive. They never found out who did it. I think they said that the husband was a person of interest at one point, but he was never arrested, and in fact, nobody ever got arrested for it. So it remains an unsolved mystery to this day. I'm not sure exactly where the car was parked, but I could definitely see, people doing things they shouldn't be doing back here and nobody finding out about it for a while, because there's nobody here. And I don't see any cameras today, and I would have to imagine that back in 1989 there were no surveillance cameras then either. Or if there were, they were probably really low quality. But anyway, back to the mall itself. Like we saw, the outside of the mall seems to be doing fairly well, as far as I can tell. Inside of the mall, unquestionably dead. And I would say if anybody disagrees with that, if anybody thinks the inside of the mall is not dead, we're living on different planets. What's going to happen to this mall, though, I'm not sure. I did read, though, that the mall has gone at least through one foreclosure in the past, as recently as 2021. And the mall actually got sold in 2023 to its current owner, Wilder. I did read an article saying that Wilder hoped to redevelop the mall, possibly into a mixed-use property, which to me generally means changing it at least partially into housing. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, though. I didn't see anything really concrete about that. But again, if anybody out there knows this mall, or if they have any more information on this mall, please let me know in the comments. And I'm almost tempted to set up a Wikipedia page for this mall, because like I said, it doesn't exist currently. And I think I probably have enough information to at least get a somewhat basic page set up. But there you have it. That is the Walpole Mall. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as flea market videos, store walkthroughs, and who knows what else. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.